Hello, everybody, and welcome to our final installment with the Global Shapers this week. It's been a fascinating week talking to amazing young people from all over the world about what they're doing to build trust. And with me today is Mostafa. And Mostafa, could you give us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ellyn, for hosting me. My name is Mostafa Amin. I'm a global shaper representing Egypt, and I've been a tech entrepreneur for the past 7 years. I am very passionate about Africa and the Middle East, and on the wider level, I'm very passionate about emerging markets.
And Mostafa, what are some of the projects that your hub is doing, the Shapers Hub in Cairo?
Yeah,
Cairo?
We're representing Giza Hub, but Cairo and Giza are very, very close to each other.
Okay.
The recent project that we're working on, it's called Women in Coding.
Oh.
And what we're trying to do is to bring more women into the tech industry to close, the skills gaps, that we are facing currently in Egypt. We're suffering from youth unemployment and gender inequality. And we're trying to focus on bringing more women into the tech industry by helping them reach new talents in the tech field.
And do you provide them with training or job opportunities, or what are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, so what we do, we have a partner. They're called Al Makina, which is a tech coding school in Egypt, and we bring these guys to get into the school, like the tech school, to learn how to code. So all of them, they never studied computer science or any relevant field. We try to bring them into the school to learn how to code, and after 14 weeks of intense program, most of them they become coders and developers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's a great example of how the Global Shapers have 3 pillars that they're really focused on, and how you take something that's a global issue and address it very locally in your own hub. And I think that's really what the Global Shapers are all about.
That's right.
That's
right.
fantastic. Well, our theme this week has been around trust. Yeah. And we believe that trust is the ultimate currency in the world today. So would you mind sharing your views on what trust means to you?
Actually, I personally face this every day in my business life and my social life as well. I think trust comes after credibility. And if we can link this to leadership, this is a critical issue today in today's world, because you have lots of information channels coming to everyone, in the world. Either it's coming from the social media channels, or it's coming from, the reality of every day. Either you deal with your boss or your leader in the work environment. So you're receiving, lots of information. If you cannot validate this information, this will lead to to a risk. This is how I see it. So before I think we know how to reach the trust level, I think we have to see how can we build credibility around around us in our daily lives. So credibility comes first. I think then trust automatically comes after this.
After credibility. So as a tech entrepreneur,
Yeah.
as you say, must be something you're facing every single day.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you're doing with your entrepreneurial business to really build the credibility so that you can create the trust?
Yes, I think if we are going to speak about trust, as well, I said we have to speak about leadership.
Yeah.
And how I see it also as well, being a leader, you should be the steward. You should carefully listen to every single member of the team. You should really listen, not only just listen to tell them, okay, I'm listening to your problems, or how can I solve these problems. You have to focus. You have to consume, big part of your energy to listen to these guys in order to be able to see how can, you solve these problems for them. And you have to empower them. You have to connect them, to their goals, because I see the leader like a bridge between, the final destination of this person, if he's a member of the team, or the whole organization, and the team itself.
It's really interesting because a few other of the shapers that I met with this week were really talking about the same thing. So it's starting to be an emerging theme from our next generation leaders about the role that leaders play in really involving and listening to the people in the workforce. And I think it's a great lesson for leaders of my generation, but also leaders of the next generation to really thoughtfully think about as they're taking on leadership roles.
Yes.
So, responsible leadership is really important when you're trying to build trust, and the essence of a leader, of a responsible leader, has been changing over time. Do you have any thoughts about what it really means to be a responsible leader?
Of course, this is a very hard question. It depends on the context, it depends on the environment, sometimes depends on the country. I mean, in the local, context.
Yeah, so tell me from your perspective, from Egypt.
From Egypt, we face a very, very challenging times, when it comes to recruitment. It's not that easy to find, young people to join your trip, your company. So
why is that? If there's high youth unemployment, why is it hard to find people?
Due to quality of education, so. For example, if you go and visit any software house in Egypt, 99% of them, they did not study computer science. Maybe they studied business administration or something else, but they found themselves that we did not like what we studied. There is something new in the, as we speak about the fourth industrial revolution, technology, right? So they start to learn, how can I become a developer? Then they go and self-learn how to become a developer. They do a great job, but I mean, if you look at the wider context, you will find that there is no cross-matching between education and what really we as young people want to do in our future, either the career or the ultimate vision of our lives. So due to the quality of education, there is a big gap in this market.
And responsible leaders can really help, therefore, shape the future of education?
Exactly. So this is part of, for us, for example, at Breakfast, what we do, we don't ask about resumes. We don't ask, what did you study? We ask about the attitude of this person and what really he wants to do. And then we get him into the team. We do our best to, educate him, get him, the mandatory, requirements. Even if this will take 1 year, no worries. No worries, because we know that if we really do our best with this person, he will become loyal to, the place that he learned at, and then he will become a very, very good, employee by the time.
I think that is fascinating, and what you're saying exemplifies what I think responsible leadership is, because you're investing in people that perhaps would not otherwise be included in the workforce, or at least in the tech workforce, which is a growing workforce, and you're giving them an opportunity that they would not otherwise have. And when, here at Davos this week, we're really talking about inclusiveness and equality and equity. And I think the way you're talking about responsible leadership really exemplifies that. Well, I hope that all of you have had the opportunity to learn some interesting things from people that I think have an extraordinary, strong and clear voice, who had the opportunity to represent their countries. We heard from Egypt, from Sweden, from Sri Lanka, and from the United States this week. And I could not be more optimistic about the future of the world when I think about how these leaders are building trust and view the role of responsible leadership in a very complex and changing world today. So thanks for tuning in this week, and I hope you'll tune back in next year. Bye-bye.